This is Super Bee Shirley with BBSBs, and today I am making wax starter strips to attach to my Layens frames. So I've got this old frying pan. It's a Westinghouse with a Regal element, and I have 2 chunks of the wax that I put in there. It's set in the simmer range. It's not going to take very long for it to melt. I've already turned it on once and decided I wasn't quite ready, so turned it off, and you can see that it is actually melting. So once we get liquid, I'll take my stick, which is soaking in water right now, dip it into the fry pan, and then peel it off. I've got an assortment of spatulas there. We'll see which one works the best. You can see on that simmer, it's not going to take very long, is it? This is wax that I rendered once just in the crock pot with some cheesecloth. So there's a little bit of brown stuff in there, but that's totally fine. I'm not worried about that. So it's been about 5 minutes, and this disc was not making contact with the element, and now it is. Okay, this is just water. So I'm going to dip it 3 times. And you turn it right away so you don't get the drips off the edge and not on the sheet. See that? Drips are on the edge, or off the edge. And then, let's see though. This is too thin. See how thin that is? It's as thin as my spatula. I probably want it twice as thick. Yeah. So I'm just going to scrape it off. Yeah, it's even thinner down there. Put it back in, let it melt. So here's what I'm trying to make, a starter strip to attach to the Layens frames. This is wax from Dr. Leo that I got last summer in 2021, so I've used it all up except for a frame or 2. And I have extra wax, and I thought I would attempt to make my own sheets. I have a electric skillet, so this is a Westinghouse square one with a Regal element, a pan of warmish water, got my dipping piece of wood in there. This is the first one that I made. It's a little thinner, but not too bad. There's about 10 dips. So I brought a frame over because if it is hot, I think I could just press it right into the wires. All right. This piece of wood has a groove in it, which is working great to hold my fingers. So, oops, to keep my fingers out of the wax. All right, so let's move that out of the way. So, 1, let it harden. 2, And I'm flipping it so that the wax drips on one side, and I can just use the spatula to pull them off of there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I don't want all the drips, nor do I want to drop my little paddle here. Okay. Dip it in to cool it off a little bit. Okay, need to add some more water to my tub there. Oop, and it separated all on its own. So then just take my spatula and, oh, this one is much better. This is my second one. Look at that. So, should we try it, boys and girls? Oh, that's right. My board is a little bit wider than I need it. And I was going to deal with that. I was just going to cut some off later. Dad cut my board to length on the next day, so my future wax making sessions will be much easier. Huh, you can see it's okay. Oh, that will work just fine. So we add starter strips just to give the girls an idea of where they need to draw combs, so they're not drawing across a couple of frames. So you can draw it straight down on the wire. Let's see what looks on the other side. Oh, I could press it in a little more. Although I don't want to sever it, so I think that's good for now. Yay me! Let's see if I can do another one. Soak it. Here's the first one I made. So I think I will just put that back in there. It's too thin and not a uniform thickness. Uniform thickness doesn't really bother me, but it's too thin in the spots where it's not uniformly thick. All right. And I think initially I had the wax was a little too hot. Had it up, I think, closer to the higher end of the simmer range, I think it says on the controller. So it's probably around a 150, I don't know, 100. I'd have to put a thermometer in there to see where it's at. All right, so let's try 10 again. 1. Oops, we got some chunks already. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Take this off right away. Get it back a melting. I know that it needs to only be that wide. Get that off of there. And then slip the spatula underneath there and away we go. Okay. Now, this is pretty brittle. The YouTube video that I watched from way out west with Sandra and Tim roller pinned. See, because this is what's going to happen. They said it's brittle. When you roller pin it, it gets flexible. Here's another dipping sequence where I dipped 10 times and fast forwarded through the sequence. So here's a side-by-side comparison of Dr. Leo's wax and then the wax strip I just made. See the spikes of wax on the frame with Dr. Leo's wax? The bees did that. Just by pressing it in. I think we'll go with that for now. Fast forwarding over about 3 minutes, you can see my element is very touchy, bordering on turning it just on and just off. I did roller my wax sheets by placing them in between some baking wax sheets and then using a wooden rolling pin. It did make it a little more pliable. I'll have to do a little more investigation on that the next time I make some of my own wax sheets. The last part of the video is attaching the wax sheets to the frames. Okay, I've got my toy transformer set to high. Both of the ends are stripped. So I set one end on the wire on the right and one end on the wire on the left. And I just watch the top and make sure, or I'm just watching to see the wires kind of melt through the wax. And you can't apply a lot of electricity because you will burn the wires. And I have been just kind of forcing them through if they haven't tried to melt on their own. This piece is a little bit thicker. Oh, I can see on the right hand side the wire's starting to come through. Starting to come through on the second one from the right. And then let me check. Just want to make sure those wires aren't hitting anything in between. Safety first. So see, you can see the wire. It's coming through a little bit. So I may have to set the camera down, heat it up, and press it a little bit. Since these are solid wax pieces and not in a honeycomb fashion, it's taking a little longer to melt the wax. So I just turned it over and I pressed through the wires. So you don't want it going all the way through. So this is the back side that I started with. And this is the front side. That's good enough for me. These are going in the swarm trap. I've already put 2 testers in each hive. So thanks for coming along with me on my bee log journey. This is Super Bee Shirley with BBS Bees. We'll buzz you later. Bye. P.S. The next time I do this, I'll make sure my wax is melted so I can add little dollops to the backs of these wires to make sure the strips are affixed. Buzz you later. Bye.